decrease the PIT for hardworking Americans. You see, our constituents believe in us. They elected us to stand up and look out for their best interests, and that's exactly what the intentions of this caucus is going to do. The America First Caucus of PA will fight for our conservative values, our issues, and our families. We are a pro-family caucus making dinner table topics our priorities. We believe in a strong economy, and that means a stable, growing, and competitive job market. We believe in hand-ups, but we oppose government programs that only enable those that are capable of working to stay home and collect a paycheck. We will support Pennsylvania and Pennsylvania manufacturing jobs. On that topic, I drafted House Bill 1917 that would prioritize made-in-America goods when state government procurement materials. Our government agencies have a job to do, but these items needed for that work should not be made from foreign materials. They should not be coming from China. We should be using these purchases to back American workers right here in the Commonwealth, right here in America. The bill fosters the expansion of American goods, which will only help grow our economy and create family-sustaining jobs here in the Commonwealth. The America First Caucus believes in a kind of regulatory reform that both prioritizes clean air and clean water, but also one that works for Pennsylvanians, that is never weaponized, often punishing the energy industry, spiking consumer costs, and chasing jobs to other states. We believe in lawful immigration, as we all have ancestors that came here lawfully and became a benefit to society. They got jobs, they raised family, they learned a language, and more importantly, they lived the American dream. They did not rely on government. On a similar topic, we must also protect our farmlands from being bought up from foreign countries like China. We will also stand against trafficking of human beings in things like labor, drugs, and sex trafficking. We will stand for the flag and freedom, showing our utmost respect for our veterans and doing everything possible to help assist them. We will stand for our law enforcement. We believe that we should punish criminals instead of attacking the brave men and women in uniform. We will put our volunteer firefighters and our EMS, giving them the tools to be successful and efficient. These are the topics that Pennsylvanians are talking about every day, and they expect us in this caucus to work on those issues. This is the purpose of the America First Caucus, and by working together, we can highlight and prioritize that work. So I want to thank my colleagues here behind me who joined me today, and I'm going ahead and I'm going to introduce the next speaker, Co-Chair Representative Eric Nelson. He's going to talk about election integrity. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everyone. Good morning. It's fantastic to be able to join you today, and I have to say thank you to my colleagues as we stand together with this America First Caucus. A key element to the greatness of Pennsylvania is trust in our election system, our processes, and our voting results. And as I stand here today, we know the votes of Pennsylvanians are not treated equally. We know that different counties have different processes, and that is wrong and should be changed. That starts with voter ID. 4 out of 5 Americans support voter ID. It is a bipartisan issue, but yet it remains stalled in the House. The discharge resolution has 101 signatures, and when Representative Joe Kerwin comes back in October, we will reach 102. But we can't wait. This issue needs to be resolved. Voter ID will not sit down. Voter ID will not go away, and voter ID will be passed in Pennsylvania, helping to restore trust in our process. But it is not the only flaw that we confront. Today, we call on Al Schmidt, our Secretary of State, to confront the very real voter roll issue. Right now, in Philadelphia, he could start in his hometown, a town that boasts 91% voter registration. 91%. And then he could go to Allegheny County, where they have 92% voter registration. 6 counties, some of our bluest, boast over 90% voter registration, and our Secretary of State remains silent when the national average is under 70. This process is wrong. He could start today by ending Rock the Vote, a left-leaning political organization, as an upload factor who is keeping our Pennsylvania citizens' information after they load. All it takes is a single check to decline your voter ID or Social Security information, and that registrant advances and becomes a burden on the county. Our counties are forced to vet and see if they're a lawful citizen, if they're a valid citizen, and if they're eligible to vote. We ask, how do counties post over 90% voter registration? From questionable practices like this. The America First policy and the America First caucus stands with the concept it should be easy to vote and hard to cheat in Pennsylvania. And we will continue to work together to achieve that goal. Thank you. I'd now like to introduce Representative David Rowe.
Well, I want to thank my colleagues very much for establishing the America First Caucus. Pennsylvania, the United States as a whole, but especially Pennsylvania, we know is filled with some of the most hardworking and talented entrepreneurs, workers that you will find anywhere in the world. But despite this, American taxpayer dollars are routinely sent overseas to subsidize the industries of nations that are not necessarily good actors and are definitely not our friends. I want to give an example of the rare earth mineral industry. If you guys are not aware, the overwhelming majority, 85% of rare earth minerals, which is what we need for cell phones, which is what we need for car batteries in EV, 85% of the world's rare earth minerals are processed in China. 60% of the world's rare earth minerals are either owned by mines owned by Chinese companies or harvested in China itself. Over half of the world's batteries are made in China. And all of these EV standards that are coming down from the federal level that states are complying with using taxpayer dollars invariably are subsidizing the Chinese battery and rare earth mineral industry. The tragic part about that, despite the fact, aside from all the lost American jobs, the tragic part is exactly how those batteries and those minerals are manufactured and mined. The reality is in China, the overwhelming majority of their batteries are manufactured in slave labor camps, where political dissidents and religious minorities are forced to manufacture the batteries that our taxpayers are used to purchase that have to go into these electric vehicles. Most Chinese-owned rare earth mineral mines are used and staffed with child laborers in different parts of the world. So by putting America first, by prioritizing the spending of taxpayer dollars on American-made products, not only are we prioritizing Pennsylvania jobs, but we are ending taxpayer subsidization of slave labor, which is not only the economically correct thing to do, it is the morally correct thing to do. So I want to also give a shout out to my colleagues, Representatives Armanini, Fritz, Smith, Marcel, and Barton. Along with them, we have introduced a package of bills to reclaim Pennsylvania's dominance in the industry, to establish a rare earth mineral mining industry that will set Pennsylvania up for enormous economic success, ensure that taxpayer dollars are used here in Pennsylvania, making sure that the jobs that this industry creates are created here. And that way we can make sure we are ending that reliance on foreign slave markets to get things done that we need. So I want to thank my colleagues for what they have done here today so that we continue to prioritize Pennsylvania. I'm going to now introduce my good colleague, Representative Ryan Warner.
Good morning. I'd like to thank all of our colleagues for joining us here today and thank Representative Davanzo for organizing this press conference and this caucus. America First. What a novel concept. So always think about something. Throughout the thousands of years of human history, the United States of America has existed for less than 250 years of that existence. And yet in that short time, our country has created more prosperity, more liberty, more freedom, and has done more to improve the human condition than all the countries combined throughout the history of the world. Think about that. And that is why it is important that we are here today and that we push for principles to keep America first. And part of keeping America first is securing our border and ending illegal immigration. That's why I introduced House Bill 1840, which would ban sanctuary cities in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. See, supporters of illegal immigration will tell you that they support it because it's a humanitarian issue. And to that I adamantly disagree. Illegal immigration isn't stopping a humanitarian issue. It's creating an issue of personal safety. It is creating an issue for our national defense. See, if you don't like our current immigration laws, you could change them, right? That's how our form of government works. If you don't like a law, you elect representatives to change those laws. That doesn't give you the right, just because you don't like one doesn't give you the right to ignore it. By openly ignoring the laws of our country, you realize how dangerous that is to the principles of this republic, how dangerous that is to the principles of democracy. See, there's a lot of federal laws I don't like. I think the income tax is too high. That doesn't give me any right to create a sanctuary area and say, I'm not paying income tax. See what happens if I do that. See what happens if anybody here did that, just blatantly ignores federal laws. And besides that, illegal immigration is dangerous. All you have to do is look and see who supports open borders. The cartels, MS-13, terrorists, drug smugglers, human traffickers. And for all the debate that we've done on illegal guns in this state, it's amazing that our colleagues on the other side of the aisle have no issue with open borders while illegal guns are smuggled into our country. Illegal immigration has exploded over the last 2 years. Over 7 million people coming into this country unvetted. That's more than the population of 30 of our states. 7 million people, we have no idea what their intentions are in this country. I'm going to conclude with a quote. Illegal immigration costs the taxpayers of the United States a lot of money. And it's unfair to Americans who are working every day to pay their own bills. It's also unfair to a lot of people who have waited in line for years and years in other countries to be legal immigrants. We must say no to illegal immigration so we can continue to say yes to legal immigration. And that quote is from former President Bill Clinton. Because see, folks, the issue we have at hand with illegal immigration, it's not a Democrat issue or a Republican issue. Americans overwhelmingly support securing our borders and ending sanctuary cities. Illegal immigration is an American problem. I respect any person that wants to enter this country legally to better themselves and to better our country. But we can't afford to have open borders. We can't afford sanctuary cities in this country. It's time to end our open borders. It's time to end sanctuary cities. And it's time to put America first. Thank you.
Ryan is also a co-chair here. And I think by the speakers this morning, you guys kind of get a preview or a roadmap of really where this caucus is headed. And truly, you know, we want to put America first on it. And at this point in time, I'll take any questions if you have any. All righty, no questions. I want to thank my colleagues, appreciate you guys, and America